Susie yanked the door open roughly and shoved you forward without a second thought. Your body lurched inside the small dim room, your balance completely lost. And just before you could crash onto the cold floor, Harry rushed forward and caught you in her arms. That's servant's room. Your legs trembled uncontrollably, your sobs breaking out loud as you clutched your baby bump protectively. The room was nothing like the bedroom you once shared with Jungkook. Bare walls, a narrow bed pushed against the corner. No warmth, no traces of belonging. It felt more like a storage room than a place made for a human to live. Susie crossed her arms and cruel smile curving her lips as she looked down at you with satisfaction. "You're going to live here now," she said flatly, her voice dripping with mockery. "You and that unborn baby of yours." Your breath hushed, tears streaming endlessly as the reality of her words sank in. You shook your head weakly, unable to form a response. Susie then turned sharply towards Harry, her expression hardening. "And you," she said coldly, "I'm the madam of this mansion now. I don't need you anymore. I'll hire new servants. You can leave." Harry stiffened instantly, her hands tightening around you as she glared back at Susie. "I'm not going anywhere," Harry replied firmly, her voice shaking with restrained anger. "I was hired to take care of her, and I'll stay." Susie scoffed, rolling her eyes dramatically. "Suit yourself," she muttered dismissively, clearly losing interest in arguing. Then she turned back to you, crouching slightly so she could look you directly in the eyes. "From today onwards," she said slowly, emphasizing every word, "you are going to be Jungkook's and my servant. No salary, no privileges." Jungkook laughed from behind her, the sound sharp and unfamiliar, like it belonged to a stranger. "Sounds fair to me," he said casually, shrugging as if they were discussing something trivial. Harry turned towards him in disbelief, tears filling her eyes. "Master, how can you do this?" she asked brokenly. "She's your wife. She's carrying your child." Jungkook didn't even look remorseful. He simply shrugged again, indifference written all over his face. "She stopped being my wife the moment she stepped into this room," he replied coldly. Your sobs grew louder, your body shaking as you collapsed fully against Harry, unable to hold yourself up anymore. Susie straightened, clearly pleased with your suffering. "Listen carefully," she said sharply. "You're not getting paid. Be grateful we are even letting you stay here." Her gaze flicked down to your swollen belly, her lips curling in disgust. "And that mistake," she pointed directly at your baby bump, "is the only reason you are getting 2 meals a day. So you should be thankful." Jungkook chuckled again, shaking his head as if amused. Without another glance at you, he turned around. Susie followed beside him, her heels clicking loudly as they walked away, laughing together as if nothing significant had happened. The sound of the door closing echoed painfully in the small room, leaving behind a suffocating silence. Hardy knelt beside you immediately, cupping your face gently. "Say something," she whispered desperately. "Please." You wiped your tears slowly, facing a weak smile onto your trembling lips despite the pain crushing your chest. "I'm fine," you whispered hoarsely. "Don't worry about me." Harry knew you were lying. Her eyes filled with fresh tears as she helped you stand and handed you a few loose clothes she had bought from her room. "Change into this," she said softly. "You haven't eaten anything since evening." You didn't reply. You simply walked towards the small window and stared outside, your hands resting protectively over your baby bump, your expression empty, hollow. Harry sighed deeply, her heart aching at the sight of you standing there so broken yet trying to stay strong. "I'll bring you some food," she said quietly before leaving the room. The door closed behind her, leaving you alone in the cramped space. You leaned your forehead against the cold window pane, silent tears slipping down your cheeks as you stared into the distance, realizing that the mansion you once called home had turned into a prison, and the man you once loved had become the cruelest stranger of all. You smiled sadly as the memory resurfaced, the kind of smile that carried more pain than tears ever could. The present faded away, replaced by a night that still lived vividly inside her chest, a night where love had been tested in the cruelest way possible.